Aksel was sitting in the living room with his father, the afternoon sun filtering through the curtains. Their conversation had started with everyday matters, but Aksel had something deeper on his mind. He had heard some things at school that had been bothering him. His classmates had talked about how in some countries, like the United States and Indonesia, children might be whipped if they did something wrong. "Dad," Aksel began cautiously, "why have I never been punished by being whipped or hit at home? Why is it different here in Finland?" He had been thinking about it a lot lately, especially after hearing stories from his friends, whose relatives mentioned different ways of disciplining children. It felt strange and a bit scary that in some places, children could get physical punishment. His father smiled kindly and settled into his armchair. "You know, Aksel, here in Finland, we have a law that forbids all corporal punishment. This law was introduced in 1984, and it's called the Act on Child Custody and Right of Access. It clearly states that children must not be hit or treated violently in any situation. This law is based on the idea that children deserve protection and respect, and that their upbringing should be safe and positive." Aksel nodded, but questions still lingered in his mind. But why is it different in so many other countries, like the US or Indonesia? There, some families use whipping as a form of discipline. Isn't that kind of strange? He had heard especially about Indonesia, where some parents believed that corporal punishment was part of traditional parenting. It seemed contradictory to what he was taught at home. His father sighed and responded calmly, "It's true that different countries have different ways and cultures when it comes to raising children. In the United States and Indonesia, corporal punishment is partly legal, and it often ties into traditional beliefs about maintaining discipline. But even in those countries, there's a lot of debate about whether it's the right way. Many experts believe that violent punishment doesn't teach children the right things, but rather fear and anxiety." Aksel thought about his father's words. He had never been afraid of his parents, and he never had to worry that he might face physical punishment if he did something wrong. "So here in Finland, the law protects us children by not allowing violence at home?" "That's right," his father said seriously. "In Finland, we believe that the best way to raise children is to support, guide, and help them understand the difference between right and wrong. The law is there to protect children and ensure that they grow up in a safe environment where they are never hit. We want children to learn peaceful ways to solve problems and build their confidence without fear." Aksel felt relieved. He looked out the window and saw the neighborhood kids playing in the street. "I'm glad we have these laws. It feels good to know that I don't ever have to be afraid at home." His father smiled and placed a hand on Aksel's shoulder. "Remember, the most important thing is that families care for each other and find ways to solve conflicts peacefully. We parents are here to help, support, and teach you, but never through violence." Aksel nodded in understanding. He was glad that his home had a loving and safe atmosphere, and he knew that although there were different ways of raising children in the world, his family had chosen a path based on respect and understanding.